After Bachmann announced their plans to release OO9 scale Slate trucks, I was initially very excited because I thought we would be getting some very, accurate Slate trucks to the TV show. Thomas and Friends, that is. But after the photos were released, we found that the Slate trucks were to the realistic size of the Tarleton Railway rather than the Skarloey Railway. Meaning that if you wanted, full-sized Skarloey-sized railway Slate trucks, you're going to have to look someplace else. Now, no one actually makes those right now, so you'd have to make them yourself somehow. So I took that problem to hand and designed my own Slate trucks here, as you can see, which you can order on Shapeways. Now, very quickly, I need to note, the first one you see there, right behind Skarloey, is not an accurate representation of what the Slate trucks will look like. That was a failed printing from a cheap 3D printer, so ignore that one, but the other one is fine. So this little video will be a little explanation on what you can do once you've got yours, if you buy some. They're fairly cheap. I'm trying to keep them as cheap as possible. And I do hope this answers all your questions, but if not, leave them in the comments below and I will answer as many as I can. And just to reiterate, that Slate truck you see there with the black bar in the middle, that is a failed printing. Don't judge the rest of them by that. That was just my attempt at getting it from a local source rather than from Shapeways. So just judge it by the other one you see there, which is a much nicer print. So if you were to order some Slate trucks from Shapeways, they would come looking like this. So completely white. You'd have to paint it, put on some couplers and wheels. Now I've got explanations on how to get the cheapest ways of all of those things, so if you listen on I'll tell you about that. But first of all, sizes. They are 2 centimeters from the very bottom to the very top. As you can see there, the more precise measurements are also there if you want to slow down the video. It's about 4.4 centimeters long and from memory, and 2 centimeters wide, and from memory I think the gauge between the axle boxes is about 12 mils. And I'll go into the specifics of the wheel sizes a bit later on. But first, in order to paint it to get it looking like this, you need a few things. One, you need this paint here, or a similar paint. It doesn't have to be this exact one, but the one I used was this paint here, warm white from Joe Sanchez, I think, which is from an art shop. That was quite expensive. You don't have to use that paint if you don't want to, but I suggest getting some kind of warm or off-white color to paint it to make it look a little bit better. You can see exactly what kind of white that is, and also some black paint for the running board. So of course you can paint it however you like, but that's just how I did it. It doesn't take too long to paint, really. It doesn't take much skill either. I just would recommend a brush that's not, splayed out in every angle, because it's a lot easier to do it. And for the first coat on one side, it starts to look something like that. And eventually you can get it looking like this. This is without the white coat painted on top. And eventually you can get it to look like this. This is with the white coat as well, and you basically just touch up all the bad details and you're done. Now for the wheels, the axle boxes are 12 millimeters apart, and if you see on this model here, you can see slight indents on the bottom of the axle boxes where the wheels kind of can slot in, the axles can slot in. They won't be there in the real model, so don't worry about that. Now I've tried 2 different kinds of wheels here, one small type and one slightly larger type, and they both fit fine. See, I've got the larger wheels from this Bachmann American brake band thing, which I got from a train show, which is a good place to get some cheap stuff, because you just buy, like this was $5, so, a $5 little brake band to take the wheels off and you got some wheels. These were the smaller wheels. They're a very specific type, but basically smaller wheels will also fit, and these were like $20 or something, so you don't have to buy them like that. You can buy them cheaper with buying second-hand items. But the wheels of something like the Pico trucks don't fit. They're just too big, because in order to fit as many types of wheels as possible, I've had to make the axle boxes slightly smaller. But it's alright, with a little bit of trial and error you can figure out what will fit, and then it won't be a problem if that's, you know, if it doesn't work on the first try. Now for couplings, the cheapest way I can think of is what I did here, is just I bent with some pliers some paper clips, just cut them up and bent them, and make two different shapes, and they will connect to the, you know, normal Pico hook and loop couplings just fine. These are the two shapes here that you can make. There is a third I'll talk about later, but basically one's a hook like this, which the part I'm holding you glue on to the bottom of the truck, and the other type you see is a loop, which you'll put it into. This is the other type of coupling you can make, which is simultaneously a hook and a loop, so that you can hook with that little bit sticking out and loop with the other side. See, this is a hook connected to a coach I've got, so that's how you'd glue it on just there, and that's a loop on the other side, a basic loop. And if I bring in this one here, which is a hook and loop coupling, you can see you can have a normal type on the other side if you want, but I will just get another coach and show you how they connect up. So you see here, that's a hook inside of a hook and loop coupling. It's all very confusing, but basically you can just bend some normal paper clips and you can make your own couplers for very cheap and just glue them on with hot glue. It's very simple, and they work just fine because I've been using them and they work. So I'm sure you could, if you wanted to, buy some actual hook and loop couplers like the actual retail ones, but I can't afford to do that right now because, you know, shipping prices on top of everything else is just too much, especially where I am. The exchange rate is just ridiculous for that kind of thing. So that's just been a little video on the Slate trucks, and if I ever make some other rolling stock, everything is much the same. I probably won't change this chassis very much at all because it works now. So no need to worry about different sized axle boxes or anything. So thank you for watching if you've got this far, and if you've got any comments, just leave them in the comments below, or questions, leave them in the comments below, and thank you. Goodbye.